Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to use Jenkins to deploy our infrastructure on AWS. And to achieve this, we need to spin up our Jenkins server to be up and running. And also we need to commit our Terraform scripts you want to provision on AWS. So the source of truth. In our case, we are going to leverage on Github. And also we need to create a declarative pipeline using Jenkins file. So with this, we can be able to deploy our infrastructure on AWS. So let us get started. I'm going to navigate to my file explorer. So in my file explorer, I'm going to click on download. And here in this download, I have my Jenkins folder. In this Jenkins folder, I have my ec2.tf and my shell scripts. So I'm going to open this Jenkins folder with Visual Studio Code. Yeah, so this is the script that is going to help me to provision EC2 instance that I'm going to use for my Jenkins. As you can see here in the resources, I want to leverage on T2 small. This is the subnet ID. This is the security group ID. And this is the key name. This is my key pair. So this key pair needs to be provisioned on your AWS account. And you just need to get the name of the key pair and paste the name right here. In my own case, the name of my key pair is DevOps key pair. And for the tag, I want to name my EC2 instance Jenkins _ server, right? And also, when I scroll up, I want to provision my EC2 instance on the default VPC, right? And here is the data source to get all availability zone in the region. And also here, I want to leverage on the default subnets. And here, I want to choose the first availability zone in this data source. So in this data source, we have a list of availability zones. So this 0 means that I want to choose the first availability zone in this list of data, right? And this is here is going to create the security group for my EC2 instance. So this is the inbound rule and this is the outbound rule. And this is the tag for my security group. I want to name my security group Jenkins Server Security Group. And this is the AMI I want to use. I want to leverage on Ubuntu. Then here, I'm saying that it should wait for EC2 to be created. So once the EC2 instance is created, then it can now apply this command. So here is that I said you should SSH inside the EC2 instance. So the username for my EC2 instance is Ubuntu, and my private key, which is my key pair, is inside this download folder, right? And the name of my key pair is DevOps keypair.pem. It's a PEM file. And here I have the source where my shell script. So my shell script is right here, as you can see. And the destination, it should copy the shell script inside this destination, right? And also you should set the permission for my shell script. So with the help of this sudo chmod + command. And also then it should now execute my shell scripts basically. So it's going to depend on this EC2 instance. So once this EC2 instance is created, then it's going to SSH inside the EC2 instance and apply the shell script I have here. So in this shell script, for my Jenkins server to be up and running, I need to install Java, I need to install Maven, I need to install Git, I need to install Jenkins, and also because we want to actually deploy our Terraform script to AWS with the help of Jenkins, so we need to install Terraform HashiCorp. This is the command, this is the configuration right here. And yeah, so here as you can see, sudo apt install Terraform -y, and here it should print clearing screen and sleep for 5 seconds. and here that you should clear my screen. Here you should print Jenkins is installed, and here you should also print this is the default password, and also cats this particular file, which is initial admin password. Inside this file, we are going to have the default password we are going to use for our Jenkins, basically. So this is what this shell script is doing. So let me navigate back to my EC2. So to spin up the EC2 instance, I'll click on terminal. I'll click on new terminal. So the first command I'm going to use is let me change to lowercase. Terraform init. So here is going to actually initialize the backend. It's going to initialize the provider plugin, download all the dependencies required for this provisioning. So as you can see, it's still installing. So when this is done, it's going to print like a success message to say it has fully initialized. It's going to take like a few seconds. Yeah, so there you go. As you can see, Terraform has been successfully initialized. So the next command I'm going to enter is Terraform validates. I'm going to check my configuration is if everything is valid. Yeah, so it said the configuration is valid. So the next command is Terraform plan. What Terraform plan is going to do, like it's going to print all the resources we want to provision and see, as you can see, plan 5 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. So the next command that we're going to enter is Terraform apply. So this command is going to provision our resources. So I don't want it to ask me the yes or no question. So I'm going to use auto approve. So this way is not going to prompt the yes or no question. So it's going to take like 1 or 2 minutes for this to be completed. So as you can see, you want to launch the EC2 instance inside the default VPC, inside the default subnets in the first availability zone. So AWS instance.ec2 instance is creating. So while this is creating, let me navigate to my source code management. So right here, I have the Terraform script I want to use Jenkins to provision. In my own case, I want to use Jenkins to provision AKS cluster. So I have already committed my script to my source code management, which is the name of the repo is infrastructure underscore provisioning. So right here, I have my AKS cluster.tf file. So this is the scripts for my AKS cluster, and this is also the tf.tf vars. So this is where I actually specify my variables. So as you can see, this is the VPC CIDR block. This is the private subnet CIDR block. This is for the public subnets, right? And this is the vpc.tf. So right here, this is the resources I want to provision. So I said it should provision VPC. I said it should provision a custom VPC, and it should also provision private subnets and public subnets and NAT gateway. And then I set the DNS host name to be true. And this is the tag for my VPC. So this is the scripts I want to use Jenkins to provision. So let us navigate back to our VS Code to see if Jenkins server is now up and running. So I think it's still provisioning. I think the EC2 instance is already provisioned. So you want to SSH to the EC2 instance and apply this shell script I have here. So this is going to take another 1 minute for it to be completed. So it's now clearing my screen and it prints out my default password I'm going to use to log into my Jenkins server. And also it prints out the Jenkins URL I'm going to use. When we check this last command I have here, so in this 132, I said it should actually print out the EC2 DNS name. So that's what I actually have here. So now with this, I don't need to actually log into my AWS to grab the EC2 instance IP address, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy this. I'll Control C and I'll open this in my web browser. Control V. Yeah, there you go. My Jenkins server is up and running. So I will need to get the default password. This is my default password. And I'll Control V. Continue. So here I'm going to install the suggested plugin. So I'm going to click on this. So here I'm going to set my username. I'm going to set my password. I'll save. Save and finish. Start using Jenkins. So this is my Jenkins UI. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Manage Jenkins to set up my credentials. And before I set up my credentials, I need to actually install Terraform plugin. So I'm going to go to Manage Plugin. I'm going to click on Available. And I'm going to search for Terraform. So this is my Terraform plugin. I'm going to install without restarts. And I'll go back to the top page. I'll click on Manage Jenkins. I'm going to go to Manage Credentials. I'm going to click on Jenkins, Global Credentials. And here I'm going to add credentials. So here I want to actually set my AWS secrets access key and my AWS secret key. You need to pass this these credentials in your Jenkins so that Jenkins can be able to log into your AWS account and provision the infrastructure. So what you need to do in this kind session, you are going to select secret tests And here in the secrets, you are going to copy. So the first thing I want to set is my access key ID. So I will go grab my access key ID. So I'll paste my access key ID right here, Control V. Then as the ID, you can actually set this ID to any name. But in my own case, I have a Jenkins file where I actually set my ID to be AWS access key ID. So I want to use this name so that if I want to configure my Jenkins file, like I don't need to actually change this name. So I'll Control C. In your own case, you can actually use any name you feel like. Then I'll Control V. Then I'm going to hit on create. So I've set my AWS access key ID. So the next credentials I'm going to set is for my secret key, secret access key. So I'm going to click on secret tests. Then right here, I'm going to go grab my AWS secret access key. I'll Control V. And here in this ID, I'm going to use, you can actually use any name to set for, to name your secret key. But in my own case, I want to use this name I've already predefined in my Jenkins file. So I'm going to use this name, AWS secret access key. And go back to my manage credentials, Control V, and I'm going to hit on create. So with this, I've already set my credentials for access key ID and my AWS secret access key. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to navigate to dashboard and I'm going to create a job. So to create a job, you're going to create a new item. Here you can actually give it any name. So in my own case, let me name it deploy_infra. And I'm going to select pipeline. I'm going to click on OK. And here, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on this drop down and select pipeline scripts from source code management. Here, I'm going to select JIT. And here is going to specify, like it's going to prompt for me the repository URL. So I'll go back to my GitHub to grab my URL. So to grab my URL, I will come back to this infrastructure as code and click on code. And I'm going to click on this. Okay, I think I don't want to use this. So let me use this folder. This is the wrong repo. Yeah, so let me use this repo. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to navigate back and Control V. So this is the repo for where I have my scripts. I want to use Jenkins to provision. As you can see, this is where I have the script. Basically, this is the AKS cluster.tf, the TFVARs, and the VPC.tf. So I don't have any credentials for my repository URL, so I will leave this as default. And I'm going to have my Jenkins file right in the repo. So I'm going to click on apply and I'm going to click on save. So now I've already created a job in my Jenkins. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to navigate back to my source of truth. And this is my Jenkins file. You are going to create a Jenkins file. So make sure you name it, the J should be in capital letter and while the rest should be in lowercase. Jenkins file. So now, so right here, this is pipeline agents, any, this is where you actually set, maybe you want to set any environment variable you are going to actually use in your Jenkins file. You can set it right here. But I think in our case today, we don't actually, we're not using this environment variable. So So in number 7 to number 10, this is where I actually give my GitHub URL as well. As you can see, this is my GitHub URL, infrastructure-provisioning. So if you want to get this, you can navigate back to infrastructure-provisioning and click on code and pick this. So let's go back to the Jenkins file, and so let me edit this, and you can just paste right here. But I think it's the same thing. So right here, the next thing I want to provision. So the next stage is provision EKS cluster, right? So this is like an environment variable. So this is the access key ID, and this is the secret access key. The best practice, you are not supposed to actually add code your credentials in your Jenkins file. So that's the reason why we save our credentials in managed credentials inside our Jenkins UI, right? So we just only pick the ID of the access key ID and also pick the ID for AWS secret access key. So to get that, you can go to dashboard, you click on manage Jenkins, you click on manage credentials, then you click on any one of the two, click on Jenkins, click on global credentials. So you see these are the credentials we have already set. So this is for the access key. So for the access key ID, this is the ID basically. While for the AWS secret access key, this is also the ID. So you can just copy this, and let's go back to our source of truth. And as you can see, this is my credentials I've already set right here. This is for the access key ID, and this is for the secret access key, basically. So the next step is for us to run a shell script, just like what we run in our local system, which is Terraform init, Terraform validates, Terraform plan, and Terraform apply, auto approve. So the difference is that we want to use a CICD tool to actually deploy our infrastructure, and this is actually the best practice. It's not actually okay for you to provision your infrastructure on your local system by running the init command in your local system. You need to the best practice is for you to commit your scripts to the source of truth, which is GitHub, right? And you now create a Jenkins file and use Jenkins to actually deploy your infrastructure on AWS platform. So this is actually the best practice, basically. So as you can see, this is a shell script I'm running. So I want to run Terraform init, Terraform validate, Terraform plan, Terraform apply. And this is the reason why we actually install Terraform in our Jenkins server. So let me navigate back to my Visual Code. So when you see this shell script, so we actually install Terraform. We actually install Terraform with this line of code. We actually install Terraform, right? So if we did not install this Terraform, there's no way we can be able to, this pipeline is going to fail, basically. So now I think our Jenkins file is okay. We didn't make any changes because I've already preset this GitHub URL, and the access key ID and the secret access key and the AWS secret access key is still the same. So we don't make any changes. So let me cancel this. So this is my Jenkins file. My Jenkins file is happy, and this is the script I want to actually provision with the help of this Jenkins file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my Jenkins UI. I'm going to click on dashboard, and I'm going to click on deploy _ infra, and I'm going to click on build. So I'll click on, let us check the console outputs to see what's happening under the hood, to see how it's actually provisioning. So as you can see, it has already run the Terraform init command, right? So yeah, I think it's running Terraform validates now, and this is Terraform plan as well. So the next stage is Terraform apply. As you can see, 50 to add because we are creating a AKS cluster, and this particular AKS cluster is going to set up as in it's going to create security group, it's going to create IAM role for my AKS cluster, it's going to create a VPC, so this is going to take like 15 minutes for it to complete, because as you can see, like, it's going to create a route table, NAT gateway. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause this video and we are going to resume back once this infrastructure is created. Yeah, hi everyone, I'm back. So now I think it took like about 14 to 15 minutes for this to complete. So as you can see, apply complete, and resources 50 added, 0 change, 0 destroyed, finish, and this is success message. So now we have used Jenkins to provision infrastructure on AWS. So let me navigate to the to deploy underscore infra. So as you can see, it took 14 minutes, 26 seconds for this to actually complete. So we have already, so now we have used our Jenkins server to deploy our EKS cluster on AWS platform. So let us log into AWS to actually see if we have the EKS cluster. So I'm going to now click on EKS. So let me right click and open this in another tab. Yeah, so there you go. As you can see, the cluster name is my app -AKS cluster, right? And the status is active. The provider is EKS, right? So now our EKS cluster is provisioned with the help of Jenkins, and this is actually the best practice. So let me navigate to EC2 to actually check the nodes, because when you check my AKS cluster.tf, I specify the nodes should be the minimum size to be 1, the maximum size to be 3, and the desired size to be 3, right? So let me go back to my EC2 dashboard. Then let me click on instance. Yeah, so there you go. As you can see, these are my AKS node. I have 3 EC2 instance running for my AKS cluster, right? So let me navigate also to security group. So to navigate to security group, let us click on just one node. So let me click on security group. Yeah, so as you can see, these are the security group for my node, my APKS cluster node, dev AKS node group, my APKS cluster, basically. So these are the security group that got created with the help of Terraform scripts. So I think we are done with the projects. We have successfully used Jenkins server to deploy our infrastructure on AWS. So thank you, guys.